Prince Harry did get into a physical fight with his uncle Prince Andrew.
Prince Harry thought his most difficult struggles were over for a while. Lawyers had retreated, the custody agreement had been signed, and a tenuous calm appeared to have descended. However, Harry allegedly made unsettling claims about Meghan and Prince Andrew a few days after the arrangement was signed, which begs the issue of what may have motivated him to come out following a contract intended to safeguard the children. Royal pandemonium was rekindled by what transpired next. Following what sources characterized as a grave and concerning failure to uphold responsibilities, Archie and Lilibet were officially taken out of Meghan Markle's custody on February 3, 2026, when Buckingham Palace recognized that the situation had reached a full-blown catastrophe. The Royal Child Welfare Office reportedly became alarmed when a sealed legal document was sent to Windsor Castle before dawn, setting off the series of events. Only a few days prior, on January 31st, Meghan had discreetly pulled 7-year-old Archie and 5-year-old Lilibet from their Santa Barbara private schools without informing the schools, the UK liaison team, or the court-appointed mediator in charge of their well-being. When neither child returned for the spring term without any transfer papers completed and no new school named, California school administrators marked the withdrawals as urgent, which made matters worse. According to reports, attempts to contact Meghan were unsuccessful, and by February 2nd, anxiety had escalated into panic. According to reports, Princess summoned an urgent, unplanned meeting at Windsor Castle and brought a red folder bearing the stamp, "Immediate custodial breach, Markle withdrawal." She presented it to King Charles and sternly warned him that this was about 2 children who were left in limbo, not about publicity or reputation. Records of suddenly cancelled pediatric appointments, written directives from Meghan's legal team to cut off contact with royal education and child welfare officials, and signed documents dissolving a £6.3 million education trust fund established for Archie and Lilibet's future education in the UK were among the shocking documents found within, but the most disturbing discoveries were still to come. An intelligence memo labelled "Privileged and Confidential" sent shockwaves through the palace on January 29th. The Royal Intelligence Advisory Group claimed that Meghan had spent the preceding 4 months preparing for what insiders characterized as a total disengagement from motherhood. A memo refusing to participate in Prince Harry's proposed joint custody plan, internal Archewell contracts directing that all references to Archie and Lilibet be removed from Spotify and Netflix materials by mid-2026, and a non-disclosure agreement with a Dubai-based media financier asking for the removal of all previous family associations prior to a solo brand launch were reportedly among the evidence. According to reports, royal legal advisors came to the harsh conclusion that this was not co-parenting. It was an attempt to erase the children's identities, as one royal official succinctly put it. Princess Anne took prompt action, allowing Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, to initiate emergency custodial protection protocols and initiate a legal case detailing Meghan's purported disengagement. Under shared jurisdiction, the file was promptly ready for submission to the California Family Court and the UK Royal Chancery Court. When Prince William quickly left an economic roundtable in Manchester later that day and hurried to Windsor, where he was given the identical red folder, the crisis worsened. Witnesses said that after reading the last page, he said in a quiet but forceful voice that this was about saving 2 children emotionally, legally, and historically rather than about Meghan. William and Princess Anne gave the Royal Advisory Council a comprehensive emergency briefing that evening, with the unheard-of goal of removing Meghan Markle's custody authority legal, symbolic, and physical from children of the Windsor line. The Crown was ready to use direct structural guardianship over youngsters for the first time in contemporary royal history, not as a form of punishment, but as a form of protection. The scheme began when Prince William entered the royal law chambers at dawn on February 3rd with Lord Hargrave and Duchess Sophie. A Level 1 emergency custody brief was given in the chamber behind closed doors, accusing Meghan of willful desertion. 4 main allegations formed the basis of the case: Prince Harry's complete abdication of his parental, educational, and medical duties, purported plans to move to a country outside of The Hague, concerted attempts to disassociate himself from the children's public persona, and Prince Harry's incapacity to act as the children's only guardian because of his instability and lack of funds. Prince William activated Appendix 4 of the Royal Succession Stabilisation Act at 10:20 a.m. This provision, which has not been employed since Edward VIII's abdication crisis, permits the Crown to take guardianship in cases when royal minors are displaced or have their identities erased. The unanimous council vote set off a series of extraordinary events. All international travel, without the dual agreement of Princess and the Crown's Child Welfare Council, was immediately stopped, and the children's passports were frozen. Prince William established a £12 million Royal Restoration Fund for Archie and Lilibet's mental healing, education, and long-term reintegration, and an image protection order was issued prohibiting any commercial use of their names or likenesses for 5 years under the Windsor Privacy Act. Within hours, the palace was rocked by rumours that Meghan Markle had abruptly and quietly pulled Archie and Lilibet from their private school in California. The Royal Guardianship Protocol, a centuries-old legal precaution intended to protect royal children when their safety, identity, or future position is at jeopardy, was revived together with a long-dormant emergency reaction squad. The protocol has apparently not been employed since the early 1940s. Princess acted quickly on behalf of the Crown's Child Welfare Committee, holding an urgent meeting at Sandringham that was attended by Prince William, senior palace attorneys, and most remarkably a rare virtual appearance by Privy Council member Sir Alan Campbell. The children's mental and emotional health, as well as the issue of final legal control over their destiny, were the obvious focal points. The school withdrawal, according to sources, was not just a parenting choice, but rather a part of a well-thought-out media strategy. It is purported that the decision was related to a new documentary pitch that positioned Meghan as a single parent under public pressure, with Archie and Lilibet being framed less as royal children and more as extensions of a personal brand. Insiders speculate that Meghan was unaware that the palace had already been keeping a close eye on things. According to reports, attempts to make money out of the children's names, pictures, and royal position were detailed in a secret, extremely confidential dossier that was submitted to the Privy Council on January 31st. The dossier was created under Prince William's direction and confirmed by representatives of the Royal Treasury. According to reports, the file contained risk evaluations and trademark applications in several nations that pointed to branded infant items that were only tangentially related to Princess Diana's legacy. The Crown's stance was made clear that same evening when Princess released a strong, well-crafted statement. The House of Windsor will not permit the economic exploitation of children born into the institution. The declaration came to the conclusion that this kind of exploitation would not be accepted, particularly if it jeopardizes the children's safety or constitutional standing. The repercussions were harsh and quick. According to reports, accounts connected to a holding company Meghan allegedly founded, named using the initials of Meghan, Archie, Lilibet, and an unidentified outside investor, were frozen by financial regulators in the UK and Canada. Sponsorship agreements for a children's storytelling platform that Meghan had pushed started to fall apart in less than a day. Online, the change was equally noticeable. Netflix withdrew promotional images from a project that had been hinted at as a touching, royal-inspired series, while Spotify silently eliminated references to the kids from podcast descriptions. Royal insiders asserted that the monarchy had formally invoked international child protection rules linked to digital identity rights, thereby deleting the children's identities and photographs from commercial platforms globally. Meghan's legal team highlighted ongoing court issues to support their assertion. Prince Harry was totally unprepared, according to some people close to him. Legal and technical obstacles, such as unresolved US residency concerns, recent travel restrictions, and a lack of steady independent income, are said to have prevented his request for interim custody power. In a classified letter carried by Royal Courier, Prince Edward, who has long been considered the monarchy's quiet but resolute operator, gave the final decision. The message was straightforward and emotionless. Windsor children's custody, guardianship, and protection were now entirely within Crown procedure, and any further visits would be subject to stringent requirements. The letter was written with King Charles's full knowledge and simply included constitutional certainties, rather than any personal remarks. Behind the scenes, Catherine, Princess of Wales, subtly assumed a new position, managing Lilibet's emotional support plan and modifying her schedule to accommodate weekly sessions with a trauma and child recovery specialist who has been approved by the palace. A dependable Welsh nanny was transferred as Lilibet's primary carer, experts in cross-cultural identity issues were enlisted, and George and Charlotte were gently persuaded to involve her in regular family events. A solitary photo that was made public showed Lilibet clutching Princess Charlotte's hand as they left Windsor Chapel on Candlemas Eve. There was no title or explanation, simply a picture of continuity and a future together that screamed louder than any official declaration. According to reports, Meghan was inaccessible by February 3rd. Her team only released a brief, ambiguous statement regarding privacy, but many observers found the quiet to be revealing in and of itself. Then the pivotal moment arrived. When a landmark decision was rendered on February 1st, 2026, the courtroom went silent. Meghan Markle was formally deprived of all custody rights over Archie and Lilibet. A quiet louder than any defense resulted from Meghan's complete withdrawal from the hearing, with her legal team declaring she would no longer take part. Princess and instantly declared that any official influence Meghan Markle claimed over Windsor children was void, and that their well-being will reflect royal standards rather than Hollywood aspirations, in a rare live statement from St. James's Palace. The ruling prompted immediate palace action. All commercial transactions involving the children's names were declared invalid under the Windsor Accords. A $8 million trust Meghan had set up for the children's international education was frozen and discreetly dismantled after accountants confirmed the funds were never routed through royal channels. And most dramatically, by formal order of Prince William, under a sovereign guardianship directive last used in 1936, both children's UK passports were placed into royal security custody, preventing them from leaving the country until they were 16 without a Crown-approved guardian. According to sources, William personally triggered the Edwardian Protocol, a Queen Mary-drafted procedure that has been in place for almost a century and grants the heir temporary custody over royal minors during times of familial upheaval. Up until a few days prior, the protocol had been classified. At a private Surrey estate under strict supervision, Catherine took on a role no royal consort had had since the wartime period, directly supervising Lilibet's emotional and academic well. Later, an unidentified royal nanny disclosed that Lilibet was doing far better than anticipated, and that she had entire faith in Catherine. The response came quickly as speculation raged about what classified documents Prince William had secretly sent to the Privy Council, and what bold step the Crown was planning. The Royal Household Child Welfare Committee chambers' grand clock struck precisely 10 a.m. as Princess and took the stage to speak for the second time in less than 48 hours, not in front of cameras, but in a sealed courtroom crowded with Privy Council members, senior child welfare officials, and UK High Court judges called in under emergency procedure. The room fell into stunned silence as she said, in a sharp and unwavering tone, that the children, Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana, were at real emotional risk because of their mother, Meghan Markle, who had disengaged from them on purpose and violated the custodial monitoring protocol of the Windsor Accord. Simultaneously, pictures of Meghan overseas appeared, with champagne in hand, on a lavish yacht in Doha next to a Middle Eastern media magnate. While these pictures appeared to the public as a sign of independence and luxury, the palace saw them as abandonment clothed in designer excess. Meghan had disregarded 3 urgent notices regarding her children's welfare, including warnings that Archie had started to distance himself from schoolwork and reports of Lilibet having recurrent night terrors and creating unsettling drawings, according to a confidential Windsor briefing that Princess Catherine submitted. None of these notices were answered. When Prince William eventually stood up to speak, his anger was restrained but evident as he insisted that children born into the Windsor lineage should be respected and protected rather than being used as props for brand building and thrown away when it was inconvenient. He said that this was no longer about reputation, but rather a deeper decay. After that, he unveiled a sealed document from a former Sussex employee that quoted Meghan's own words, just before she left her position as a parent. "Let the Crown raise them." One phrase that hit the committee like a final, scathing conviction was, "I have an empire to rebuild." It was an emotional bomb of a revelation. According to reports, Prince Edward privately warned advisors that this problem went beyond Archie and Lilibet, and that he had never seen Prince William this furious, not even after the Netflix attack. William had drawn a clear line, and George, Charlotte, and Louis were all involved, their own futures mirrored in what was happening. Meghan's team stayed mute back in California, releasing a chilly, technical legal statement that dismissed the UK's custodial negligence claims as being unenforceable under California law. However, the palace was already a few steps ahead. In order to trigger a little-used bilateral family protection clause from the post-Brexit Windsor Convention, princess, and worked with the Foreign Office. This clause permits the Crown to take guardianship of a royal child overseas in cases when there is obvious risk, even in the absence of parental consent. The decree, which was signed in triplicate by King Charles III, Prince William, and Princess, and on February 3, 2026, legally circumvented Meghan's parental responsibility and immediately gave the British Crown main custodial power over Archie and Lilibet. Under the codename Operation Dandelion, a private jet chartered by the UK Foreign Office arrived at Santa Barbara Airport in silence with a paediatric trauma specialist, a royal legal envoy, and child welfare officers. The team's duties included recording the situation, making sure the law was followed, and, if required, carefully removing the children. The palace kept a straight face as Meghan's inner circle started to fall apart. Tyler Perry allegedly demanded explanations. Oprah Winfrey distanced herself, and Meghan's planned 2026 podcast was secretly cancelled following negative focus group input. With the simple phrase, "Family endures," Kensington Palace unveiled a single, subdued image of Prince Louis and Princess Charlotte sitting with Lilibet in Windsor's Rose Garden. It was a subdued declaration of law, guardianship, and ancestry rather than a show. While the public breakdown of the Sussex marriage made headlines around the world, another story, one of dignity, tradition, and the cautious transfer of royal responsibilities across generations, was quietly taking place inside Kensington Palace. Princess Charlotte of Wales entered the spotlight in a moment that felt both natural and profoundly symbolic, while Meghan's legal team frantically worked in Los Angeles to safeguard her reputation and brand. A startling image of Charlotte standing next to Princess Anne Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, in the Royal Archives wing at Windsor Castle was made public by the palace early on February 1st. While a young image of the late Queen watched from behind, almost silently transferring strength to the next generation, Charlotte held an exquisite ivory-handled letter opener that was said to have belonged to Queen Elizabeth II in the early years of her reign. Insiders explained that the image's timing was anything but coincidental, describing it as a transfer of resolve and continuity. Meghan Markle experienced a legal setback that same morning when a royal advisory committee, led by Princess, and formally rejected her attempt to obtain compensation related to Princess Diana's legacy. The committee concluded that marriage by itself does not grant any such rights, and that no one may use Diana's legacy for profit without express sovereign consent. King Charles wholeheartedly supported the choice, which was controlled and precise. It was based on a private note Queen Elizabeth had written in 2020 to protect the royal heritage. Back in Windsor, Charlotte's picture immediately captivated the public's attention as the first person to be officially associated with a historic royal duty. She stood with Anne, the Crown's go-to enforcer, and Sophie, the palace's cunning strategist, creating a symbolic triangle that represented past preservation, present discipline, and future protection. Wearing a light blue coat and the late Queen's sapphire brooch, Catherine, who was recuperating from a recent medical treatment, made a brief appearance with Princess Charlotte on a palace balcony during a children's charity awards event. In a brief but elegant moment that lasted only 15 seconds, she put a soft hand on Charlotte's shoulder before moving aside to let her daughter collect a little floral tribute from a youngster in the crowd. As concerns over the Sussex divorce, and who now had ultimate custody of the children grew, Meghan's attorneys in California filed a revised petition asking for further lifestyle allowances, citing psychological constraints they characterized as royal abandonment. Public opinion had drastically changed by this time, with social media, morning television, and British tabloids viewing the Sussex split as a matter of resolution rather than a tragic royal drama. By formally designating Princess Catherine, Princess Anne, and Prince Edward as trustees, and essentially relieving Harry and Meghan of responsibility, Lord President of the Privy Council, Sir Alan Campbell, clarified on February 2nd that all royal trust arrangements for Archie and Lilibet would be administered under a guardian restructure clause. One observer pointed out that the Crown was changing its direction rather than punishing them. Meghan was spotted filming material for a supposed solo lifestyle series, a move that was heavily ridiculed in British media, while Harry reportedly cancelled a scheduled public appearance in Arizona due to legal stress. That following week, Catherine and Charlotte showed up without warning at a charity event for street-level kids. They were quiet but authoritative, with Catherine projecting a composed resolve and Charlotte shocking the media by saying, "We are not currency. We are not stories for sale." Later, palace aides verified that Catherine had given her approval to the statement, highlighting her strong opposition to Archie and Lilibet being exploited. A private protective memorandum that Catherine had written and was distributing among constitutional and child welfare advisors was revealed hours later. It established contemporary safeguards for royal children against psychological exploitation, unapproved monetization, and misuse of artificial intelligence. The palace's response to Meghan's team's desperate attempts to reclaim narrative control through posts that portrayed maternal tenderness on social media was a stern one. Empowerment is not manipulation. Obstruction is not protection. The timing was unfortunate since it was reported that Meghan had tried to get Archie involved in a branded children's culinary initiative that was supported by a foreign luxury sponsor. This raised ethical questions on both sides of the Atlantic. Silence is not absence. Prince Edward took control of reviewing the usage of royal children's photos abroad while royal oversight was being restructured, and the palace became even more alarmed when leaked Foundation records exposed intricate marketing strategies, including Lilibet. The Palace Child Welfare Committee swiftly approved emergency measures, granting Prince William temporary joint oversight of Archie and Lilibet's privacy, and invoking non-consensual image clause rights under the Royal Privacy Act, effectively barring Meghan from using the children in monetized or promotional content, while the last legal questions were being resolved. Princess Anne bluntly addressed the issue, stating that there would be no branding or press calendars for children.